You know, it always feels strange, funny even, when the ANC, which is in government, calls, you know, on the government to do this or do that.
If we don't do that, we will be accused of conflating state and party.
No, that's not what people are asking you to do. They're saying every Monday, 6 of your officials meet at Luthuli House.
Wait, can I finish
Ever so often, you meet as the National Executive Committee or as the National Working Committee, and when there are crises, you are able to call each other up and say, let's do something now. And of course, you get those who are in government to do what they're supposed to do. Why isn't that happening?
First, let me clarify what you're not allowing me to do. We don't want to conflate state and party. We, as a party, are calling on government, which is fortunately led by the ANC, to do the right things. That's what we're doing. I accept that we do have meetings, we know what they're doing in certain circumstances.
So there should be a need to call on them to do something.
There is a need in the sense that there's a distinction between the party and state. To that extent, we need to respect and not blur the lines.
Now, you are asking for the ANC to, or you're concerned about the employment implications of the situation that we're in. That to me suggests that you admit that you did nothing. Or you've been doing nothing.
I admit that the economy has challenges. Some of them may be of our own mistake or omissions. Some of them may be beyond of conditions, beyond our control.
Let's talk about those things you are prepared to admit to. What are the things that, as the governing party, you should be held responsible?
There are a number of policy propositions which we have put forward which have not been carried through, which, in my view, had they been carried through to the fullest extent necessary, would probably have been in a better position than we are. Let me just say, for instance, there's a major debate on the land issue. If you take the current ANC policy position, before we went into NASREC, you take the Ready to Govern document, a lot of policies that are contained in that document, had they been implemented, would not be where we are in terms of the land question. So there are a couple of areas where we're open in admitting that we have not been able to implement policy as we should have been.
Well, but I mean, someone listening to you says, but this is a person from the same political party whose cadres who were deployed in government moved with speed to enable the looters we are talking about today and the state capture and everything that goes with it.
In the press briefing today, one of the things I considered again was that we have not been able as a party to create an accountability framework with which to hold those deployed in government accountable. That's one of the areas we're beginning to take into account. For instance, we're developing now a template for people to report on the resolutions that we've passed as a movement.
So what should happen now in the dire situation, with regard to the dire situation that we're in now? How do we get out of the quagmire we're in now?
Let me just say, in July, we had normal of the ANC, and we kind of instinctively predicted that we may be in a similar situation. It's in that context that we called on government to implement a stimulus package. So our view is that we've got to move with speed in implementing that stimulus package.
You only have to wait for until July. You only decided this now, but you knew a long time ago that our economy was in dire straits.
No, we knew that the economy is in dire straits. And for
it doesn't have to take a recession
no.
to move.
No. It doesn't take a recession. It doesn't mean that there's nothing happening in government. But we are saying to augment that and make a quick turn, you have got to implement the stimulus package.
But there was a problem before you even thought of a stimulus package. So the question then becomes, what did you do at that point, which in July you then felt was not enough?
There will always, in managing an economy, be ups and downs. You can't say because there's an ups and down now, you should have foreseen that there's going to be an ups and downs. In managing an economy, it's in the nature of the economy. That's why we have peaks and downs, what is called the business cycle. There will always be such challenges in managing the economy.
But here's why it becomes difficult to, believe you as ANC cadres when you say exactly what you're saying now. Let's take the fuel price. For the longest time, the government said there was nothing it could do because it has no control over the rand-dollar exchange. It said it had no control over the price of crude oil. Few days ago, boom, out of the blue, someone can do something after all, even if it was a temporary reprieve. Now, people then begin to ask, but are these people serious when or do they take us seriously?
Anybody who pretends that to you that they've got a control over that issue is actually misleading society. We don't have control because we are a price taker in relation to fuel. To the extent that a government have reorganized their budget and began suggesting, as Minister Hadebe suggested, I don't know, as suggesting that he may for one specific month postpone the impact by making available $500 million. That is also a temporal measure. You can't say then that gives us control. It does not. You are mitigating something you don't have control over.
But he said that knowing fully well that that was not a solution. He said that knowing fully well that the price of crude oil is going to go up. And with everything we're experiencing now, the rand-dollar exchange, the rand keeps sinking, going down further.
With due respect, he himself, he's not saying that's a solution. He's saying, I'm mitigating the impact for a specific period. He doesn't say we're having control over it.
So what's going to happen now? Oil, the fuel price, is the recession we are in now?
The fuel price,
unemployment is a runaway train.
Yeah, the fuel price is a product of the exchange rate. And that exchange rate, again, is something that is quite critical, not of our own choosing, because the impact on Turkey and Argentina, which are emerging markets, is forcing people to take money out of the emerging markets and impact on the currencies of those markets. It's not something that you can say we have got control over. So anybody who says, again, we have control over that is actually misleading the South African population.